guys, I'm gonna do my reefer check real quick. Hang on. Linda. Hey James. Hey Jesse. Time for delivery, but barely. I better check that real quick. Move, get out of the way. Facebook notification. I got things to do. I am 1,145 miles out. Okay, let me double check. Let's see, about 1150 divided by 60. About 19.5 hours plus 10 plus 8 because I'm doing an 8-2 split plus, let's go 5.5 for the current time. It's 43. Ouch. 1900. I think that's that's at the very end of my window. Not very realistic that I'll get there on time. So, I'm just finished sending this off from my, that's right, cylinder 0314. Plus sign's in. I need to get going here. Okay. Alright, so I'm ready to get rolling here. I just woke up from a good little nap here. I took a 2-hour break here. Doing an 8-2 split basically. So I did the 2 hours here, and then when I finish my shift, which will be probably in Las Cruces. This is the second half of my shift. Plan to stop in probably Las Cruces. I might try to get further, but plan is to get at least Las Cruces. I got 4:44 left on my clock, and see, basically I'll do an 8-hour break, a sleeper berth, instead of a 10-hour break there. What's this clown doing? I don't want to go into the park and go out. Shit. Need to make sure my tandems will clear this guy. Yeah, looks like I'm good. Yeah, we're good. Wasn't quite sure if I was going to at first, though. What is this guy doing here? Okay, the exit is right there. That's the one I'm trying to go for, but don't tell me he hit the guy over here. That's a really bad angle. I mean, a really, really bad angle. I'm hoping maybe he's pulling out of that spot. And okay, there's another truck in front of him. That's why. He's just waiting on the guy with the can. It's a flatbedder with a bunch of Can-Ams, whether it's Spiders or Sea-Doos or whatever. That was blocking the gate, blocking the driveway, trying to leave. So my thought process was do a 2-hour break here and then an 8-hour break in Las Cruces, and then I could run, run my next shift with a regular 10-hour, well, another 2 and 8. Run the first half of my shift and then do a 2-hour break. And then the second half of my shift and do the 8. And then I should hopefully be close enough to the receiver where I won't need any other brakes. And it actually has the advantage of if I do 8-2 splits, I don't need to do 30-minute breaks. So if I basically, my brakes are right at 10 hours total, which just took a little bit longer than I wanted to. Probably an extra 10 minutes here over. Oh, this guy, yeah. I thought this guy was going to cut in front of me just because he can. Yeah, I'll probably run into you then. Also, Jesse, you had a question about my brake issue. I actually posted a video about it last night, showing what all, the whole time my truck was in the shop. Watch out for that. Well, there wasn't much of anything done, and I'm not convinced it's really fixed still, because I had difficulty sliding my tandems last night after I got out of the dock door. Either the tires were hopping or they were rolling, I think. So I just ended up going to the staging area and put my tires up against the curb and then you got his next load? Alright. Okay, so Jesse just got into New Mexico. And I'm around the 250, what, 258? Something like that, yeah. We'll probably actually meet here in Texas somewhere. Probably in Sierra Blanca or somewhere. Assuming neither one of us stops. And if we assume that Jesse's right at the Arizona-New Mexico border, he's got 164 miles across New Mexico, and I got 258 to get to the New Mexico border, so he'll beat me there by getting 90 miles, so... Or no, actually we'll cross around the 45 or so mile marker. Because if I'll be around the 90 by the time he gets into Texas, then we cut that in half and we'll probably cross paths around the 45, give or take. I started going down Mines Road there to head across to over at 69W, so I could head across to 35. Now the only reason I even went that way is because I needed to get fuel and scale my load before I get out of the area. If I hadn't needed to do that, I would have just gone straight up north on Mines Road, not very far, and head across Highway 255, which is a toll road. You have to stop at mile marker 68 to get wheels retorqued. You actually do that? I honestly don't waste my time on that. Or I'll stop when it's convenient for me, and I don't just stop my truck from moving just to check the torque on wheels. Some spots, they're going across from Laredo to Fort Stockton. Mostly in between Laredo and Del Rio area, I'd say. Morning, Yolanda. Long time. got there right at 11 when I was allowed to check in. They didn't have a door right at first, so I went to the back staging area and parked. And I wasn't there for too long before they gave me a dock door. But once I was in the dock door, it didn't get loaded until they didn't start to load me until about 5 o'clock. I think I was done around 6 something, or a little after 6, something like that. But then I was already out of hours, and might as well just, I asked them if I could, told them I couldn't really go anywhere for 3 more hours, and asked if I could use the standard lot until my 10-hour break is done. And yeah, you can go ahead. So, go back over to the staging area and park and finish my break and then get rolling. I wanted to get moving right when my 10-hour break was done, but Qualcomm decides it's going to waste my time. Stuck on that please wait screen that I posted on my Facebook. Then I finally get rolling, and it seemed like every light going down Mines Road wanted to slow me down, or people or other traffic wanted to slow me down needlessly. It's not like it was heavy traffic, it was just, traffic was there and wanted to be in the way. Then I finally get over on I-69W, so I can cross over to 35. Did a flatbedder over there, not wanting to do the speed limit, but he needs over to my side, so he can also get on to 35. But come on, dude. Let me get on to 35 over to pass the guy in front of him and be in my way again and pile it, get on the scale first and see where I'm loaded first. This time I was fine. I waited 76 and change. I think my drives were at 32 something, and then my tabs were 33, 1 or 2 or something like that. So I was able to max out my tanks, no problem. But of course, getting to the fuel island was a pain because there was a Snyder truck that wanted to drive the bare minimum speed and be in my way the entire time. Like, come on. I go inside the building. Yeah, after I'm done fueling, so I was telling you, use the restroom, get a drink, maybe get a snack and get out of there. One guy in line in front of me and another guy at the counter. The guy at the counter's getting a shower, I think, and whoever knows what else, I don't know, but whatever it was taking a lot of extra time. It seemed like he was at the counter for at least a good couple of minutes. Why it takes so long to get in and out, be done with that, I don't know. Now, me personally, when I get my showers, I actually use the Pilot app, and it reserves the shower through the app, and I never have to interact with the front desk people. And even then, if you need a shower, even if you do have to interact with them, you just, I need a shower, that's fine, then scan your Pilot card, and it doesn't take that long. But yeah, this guy was taking a while. Then the guy in front of me in line, I think it was a Mexican guy who was trying to get fuel or something, and I get the impression that's what he was doing, was trying to get fuel. That was taking a long time. I was like, come on. You can't just have people in front of me who have something real simple and fast to take care of like I do, right? So I can get the hell out of here. And, and then while I'm still waiting on that guy, finally the girl was doing cleanup stuff over by the soda machine and the hot dog and nacho stand and all that kind of stuff. She finally comes back behind the counter and then next guest in line. Really? Now you finally show up. Okay. So finally getting and that was very quick, of course. truck, I found out that it had been 13 minutes since I got out of my truck. It's like, are you freaking kidding me? It took that long to get in and out? It's too long. Finally get a chance to get rolling. I get on the freeway again. And I think there was another truck that just happened to be in my way again. And I wasn't going to be on the freeway for very long because I was going to get off at US 83. The pilot is off of exit 12B, 12 Bravo if you're northbound, or exit 13 if you're southbound. And the exit for US 83 is exit 18. So only 5 miles is what I was going to be on the road after that. And again, has to be annoying, right? Oh, it gets better. And once I'm on 83, I finally decide to take a drink from my third mug thing. Yeah, so I was pouring Pepsi. At least I thought I was pouring Pepsi. It sure as hell didn't taste like Pepsi. It tasted more like Dr. Pepper or something. And I can only handle so much of that. Like, it tastes a little just too funny for me. I couldn't do that. I ended up, let's see. I ended up stopping at the one pilot there is along those U.S. highways between I-35 and Fort Stockton. Was it over by Calisto Springs? Or, yeah, is that where it was? I forget. I forgot all about that place because it's been so long since I've taken that route. Because that's the first time I've been to Laredo in about 3 years. But yeah, I ended up making a quick stop with the pilot there just so I can dump my drink and fill it with what was supposed to be in it in the first place. She let me get out of there for free because that's all I had, and she was trying to go about mopping her floor and all that, and get rolling finally. That's one of those routes where you really got to watch the signs because there are two towns there where you have to actually bypass. Let's see, where 83, where you make the left turn onto Highway 277. What is that? Is that Eagle Pass? I forget. I don't remember what town it is, but or maybe it's Calisto Springs. I forget. Yeah, maybe it's Calisto Springs. But now you normally make the left turn onto 277, but there are signs there that tell trucks do not. Through traffic, through trucks, you have to use 83 northbound to what's that, State Highway 518 or something like that. Basically, go up to the other end of town and then turn left, and turn left where the Walmart is. Follow that road back down over to the west end of town, and then get on 277 there instead. Then further down, I think it might maybe have been, where was that? The Eagle Pass or Del Rio or somewhere out that way. There was I guess, some kind of construction going on there or whatever, where they had trucks detouring onto another state route. Basically turn right onto another state route up to up to US 57 or whatever it was, and then take 57 back down toward town, and then take another detour road back over to 277. Again, you follow GPS, you can get a ticket. Follow the signs, you have no problem. Morning, Tom. Morning, Charlie. I guess I should say good afternoon, Tom. Let's see, for Tom, what is it? Is it coming up on noon there, or is it 1 o'clock? Or no, it's actually, let's see. Yeah, or no. It should be either coming up on 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the afternoon there, right, Tom? 13:50, okay, that's what I thought. So you're in the same time zone as Lisa. You're in Greenwich Mean Time, or, but as we call it in aviation, the Universal Time Coordinator Zulu Time. Morning, Mother F. Told of England where maybe it's closer to Scotland, so you so your dialect tends to be a little bit more akin to that of Scotland's, or? So if you're in Knoxville, let's see. I don't know if you'd go all the way over to Nashville and then up 55 from there. I think I'd probably go a different way. I don't think I'd want to take 81 up. Because 81, I would think, kind of starts to go away from there. And not to mention, you'd have to go through all those hills and twists and all that kind of shit on I-64 if you... There's got to be a different way, like a U.S. highway or something. I'm not the most intimately familiar with highways over that way. I would think maybe you take a U.S. highway or something up toward, I don't know, maybe toward Lexington or somewhere, or Louisville. And then maybe take, I don't know, what, 70 across? No, 70 kind of goes down a little bit. That's not even the most practical way. Or no, 64, I mean, you can take, yeah, you can pick up 64 in Louisville. But then 65 goes through there too, so... Yeah, you can take, I guess, 65 up from Louisville. Yeah, I know I felt miserably. How are you getting from Knoxville to the Louisville area? But am I even right that you're going to go through Louisville? I have to look on a map to help with that. I know the interstates, and I know generally what direction, more or less, like, even if they're east-west highways, if they generally trend north or trend south while they're going east or west, and vice versa. But the U.S. routes over there, I'm not any good at. Says I was brought up in Scotland. Moved to England in 1988. Been here ever since. Okay. So even though in 30 plus years of being in England, you never lost a Scottish accent then. Okay. Can you guys do an American English accent? I imagine you guys probably have a little more difficulty doing an American English accent than an American person would have with British, with some of the traditional Queen's English dialects, I should say. The only reason I say that is because traditional English, the vowels are only pronounced one way. I know that in some of the dialects you guys got there, you do kind of alter that some, but traditional Latin-based languages, even though English is not really technically a Latin language, but much of the majority of the words in the English language actually are Latin-based. English is actually fundamentally a Germanic language. Getting that in a second there. Mother F, you got it right. I hopped on 81 to 75 to 64 to 60. Okay. 81 to 75. Okay, I traditional English accent, because I do have some tendencies to articulate vowels the traditional way anyway because of the Spanish influence. So it wouldn't be difficult at all for me to try to, to speak a more traditional Queen's English dialect, where the vowels were all the same. In Latin-based languages, the letter A is always pronounced ah. There's never another pronunciation for it. And then E is always pronounced A. I is always pronounced E. O is always pronounced O. And then U is always pronounced U. And then Y is pronounced B, E, just like I. Now, I've heard some of you British people talk and clearly do something a little bit different than that. But from what I gather, certain areas of England, I guess some areas might speak a little more traditional type of English, and that part is the easier part for me to figure out. But then it's your slangs that American versus British slang that I'd have to pick up on. Let's hear your Scottish accent. Let's hear your Scottish accent. Scottish accent. About British people when they talk, or you guys talk, maybe it's a stereotype, or what I tend to notice though is you guys tend to open your mouths more widely when to articulate your words more clearly than a typical American would. I think Americans can be notoriously difficult to understand in a lot of cases, because a lot of us don't tend to open our mouths any further than we need to make whatever sound we're trying to make. And Oath's Road. I'd probably have an easier time if I was reading something. Probably would have to make a conscious effort on that. Now, there's certain letters, like letter A, I do have a natural tendency to pronounce it ah because of the Spanish. But it's not. I don't always do, like you just heard. Like it's in Spanish, and it sounds more like a regular American saying Spanish. But there are times when I'll catch myself saying Spanish, or in other words, words, the A is normally pronounced a different way in English, in American English, but I will pronounce it like an ah. Another one where I actually signed with you guys in the pronunciation. Kilometer versus kilometer. How should it be pronounced? Okay, Americans all pronounce it kilometer. We don't use kilometers. We don't even work with that unit of measure here in the U.S. because we go by miles. We use the imperial system, not the metric system, but I'm actually more of a fan of the metric system, and okay, so actually with meters, actually got even like my micrometer or versus micrometer. a tool that I used to use on airplanes when I needed to use precision measurement, like a dimension of something. But in reality, shouldn't it be called a micrometer? But us Americans, with our crazy ways of wanting to pronounce things, just have to pronounce it this way that sounds better, even though it's not technically correct. It's like kilometer. Where'd that come from? Why not call it kilometer? But, okay, do you kilograms, or is it kilograms? I mean, personally, I call it kilograms. Why would I call it kilograms? Using that dumb logic, then why would I call it kilometers instead of kilometers? So that's some of the thing that kind of makes me laugh about the English language, the American English language, I should say. It's obviously, as you guys, as you know, there's some differences there. Morning, Carl. We spell it K-I-L-O. Man, that's a prefix, so it's pronounced kilo. And in American English, we also have other words where it's like, which way is the right way to pronounce it? Really don't know, like route versus route. You know, R-O-U-T-E. Is it Route 66 or Route 66? Or whatever. That one, I think, me personally, I tend to pronounce it based on what context I'm using it in. So, if I want to get routed around something, you know, like say, you know, like a GPS kind of route or whatever, or detour around something or whatever, or if I want to take a certain route, whatever, then I'll say route. I don't say route. Then, but then when it's a highway number that you're designating, like, you know, it's Route 66 or maybe Route 90 instead of Route 90 for US 90, which I was on earlier. Earthquake, 3.4 earthquake last night in Granada Hills, 11:40 p.m. That's a small one. Did you even feel it at all, Yolanda, or? 3.4 in your neck of the woods, I wouldn't even feel in my place. It'd be like if anything at all, it'd be like that one that James posted in the Scotty group on Facebook. Very brief jolt, if you even feel much. Like Yolanda was saying, it's typical. We get tons of earthquakes in California, you guys know. We get a lot of 3-point whatevers, and half the time you never feel them. You gotta be right by the epicenter to feel them, to have a chance at feeling them. Usually when they're 3-point whatevers, even 4-point whatevers. A decent number of those I don't even feel. Yeah, a lot of them I will feel, but I won't feel much. Usually not unless it's a minute, like a 5.0 or bigger, when I actually start to feel it and actually feel it long enough where we can usually tell by how long it lasts and how intense it is. You know, kind of get an estimate, kind of see if your pants estimate of how strong it but probably geographically closer to me than that one was. However, I could tell that by the fact that it lasted as long as it did, that it was probably a big one, at least like an upper 6 or maybe even a low 7. And sure enough, it turned out I think it was like a 7.1 or something. All right, Tom, we'll talk to you later. Alright, making a call. Hey, what's happening? You sound like you're tired or sick or something. What's going on? Oh, that's not good. Yeah, that's probably someone messing with you for deleting your Facebook. Yeah, I didn't even know that you had shut it off until who was I think John told me that you had turned it off or something. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. That's right. He did say you took him to some Italian place or something like that. Uh, all right. Yeah. Oh, all right. I know you're probably kind of busy right now, being right at the beginning of your shift, so I'll just kind of be to the point here, okay? Um, I'm best case scenario, right at the very end of the window for delivery. Basically, my plan is I'm going to stretch my shifts as much as I can and do 8-2 splits. So that way I don't have to worry about getting too fatigued, and I also don't need to take 30-minute breaks when I do 8-2 splits. And today I'm hoping, I'm planning to get to at least Las Cruces. Not sure I'll have enough time to get further than that. So I'll probably shut down and either the pilot or TA in Las Cruces. And then the following shift, I'll try to stretch as much as I can and get close to like 700 miles or whatever. And that should get me somewhere into Southern Cal. I just don't know if I can get to the San Bernardino yard, or I might end up short of that. What's that? Planning, tentatively in Las Cruces. Okay. Yeah, I'd imagine it'd be. I mean, I could get it into California, but I'm gonna have to do an extra 10-hour break in California somewhere before I can deliver, and that's where the hiccup is. All right, sounds good. No problem. Okay, so that's kind of one of those examples. My DM doesn't know what I have planned or what I have going on with this. I did send my macro one. I think actually just a little bit before she showed up, so I'm not sure if she even saw it. But I can't make assumptions that she has any idea what exactly I have going on. So the fact I communicated with her, let her know exactly what I'm doing, it makes it easier for her to work. Basically, she's got to get with the planners and let them know what I have going on, and then they'll figure out how to go about getting this thing delivered on time. Trying to go across the LA basin to get over to Santa Paula on a weekday afternoon. You just don't do that. Not if you don't need to. Plus, I saw right shoulder traffic up there somewhere. So to wait on this tanker to come back over and let him come over for the right shoulder traffic. Tanker, you can come back over if you need it. Not us on right shoulder traffic up there. No, they're rolling. Okay. Yeah, never mind. I know they're rolling. Two trucks side by side on a 2-lane road. Keeping pace with one another. That equals a turtle race. Yes. Racks there. I got a faster truck catching up. Gonna get passed by a faster truck before a hell of a lot longer. He's still back there behind Prax here, but I know he's gaining on me. Yeah, this guy's catching me fast. He's already up on my trailer now. He's going at least probably closer to 80. I'm doing 70, and that's how fast he went by me. like to be able to get to Deming, but I think I was a little bit too far out of reach.
Police arrest two murder suspects ages 14 and 18 from Barstow and Apple Valley. BBNG.com yesterday. Apple Valley, Caliph. BBNG.com, an 18-year-old from Apple Valley and a 14-year-old Barstow teen were arrested for the murder of a 19-year-old man from San Bernardino. The deadly shooting happened on Sunday, December 29, 2019, at 6:35 p.m. when police responded to a call of a subject shot outside of Macy's Market located at 2520 N. Macy Street in Muscoy. Deputies arrived and found the victim, later identified as Tremont Jordan, unresponsive and began life-saving measures. Jordan was transported to San Bernardino Community Hospital where he was pronounced deceased. Through investigation, detectives determined that Tremont Jordan and a friend went to the location and were confronted by several black males. As Jordan and his friend proceeded to leave the area, shots were fired, and Jordan was struck. The group of black males fled the area in a gray vehicle, stated sheriff's officials. Following several leads, homicide detectives were able to positively identify two suspects responsible for the shooting, and on January 15, 2020, detectives arrested Denzel Polk and a 14-year-old male for murder. Detectives believe this is gang-related, however specific details regarding the motive or other investigative information are not being released at this time. Anyone with information, or anyone who witnessed the incident, is asked to contact Detective Max Kunzman, Specialized Investigations Division, Homicide Detail at 909-387-3589. Callers can remain anonymous and contact WEDUP at 800-78-CRIME-OR.
Hey man, how's it going? I saw you posted that you had started your home time and you were getting ready to head down to Daytona for the 24. I'm almost, I'm not quite, I'll be by Interstate 20, where it intersects with I-10 in just a few more miles here. I think it's at the 187 mile marker and I'm at the 192 now, so about 5 miles out. Getting a bit windy here. Okay, so someone had asked earlier about how the delivery went yesterday too. And I meant to talk about it and just forgot. Alright, so I ran down early to Stockton and ended up burning off a couple hours while I was at somewhere in between San Antonio and Laredo. I just don't remember where. The petrol. Got a petrol that's down there by exit 101 or whatever it is. Stopped there for a couple hours to nap and burn off my excess time. Got down there to the receiver. It's easy to get down there. What was it? Exit 3 Alpha or 3 Bravo or something like that. And basically, once I get past Santa Maria Avenue, the first street I can turn left on after that is this modern way. truck to get some breakfast. I was only in my truck maybe a couple of minutes, a few minutes maybe before they called me up saying, okay, you can go ahead and dock in. And it was only a few minute drive from there, not even that. So I just went straight from Sam's Club and hit the dock door, and it was actually an easy dock to hit. It was a 180 that I had to do though. I think I have the footage of it. At least I hope I do. So I hope it saved at least the amount that I want. So sooner or later, you guys will hopefully see that footage the way I backed into there. Well, once I got docked in, I wasn't there for maybe more than like 15 minutes because as soon as I was there, they put the dock plate across and started going into my trailer, taking one pallet out at a time, and every time they took a pallet out, they put it straight into the other guy's trailer. And once they were done, they just I had to do a traffic check before I came over here. Anyway, I moved the dock plate, and then it came a minute later. They come up to the door to give me my bills and my lumber receipt, and I was on my way. Very easy. I actually wrote up a pretty good review on Google reviews, Google Maps, whatever. But in reality, the actual customer I was going to was bespoke. But the building actually says CR Express Forwarding. So basically, CR Express Forwarding runs the building, and that's who I was actually there for. Python related news here. I never really watched that show. I know a lot of people loved it. I just never. I don't know. I never. Guess it.
Monty Python's Terry Jones dies aged 77. Monty Python star Terry Jones has died at the age of 77. His sensitive time and give thanks that we lived in the presence of an extraordinarily playful, loving and true authentic life, in his words, lovingly frosted with glucose. The Welsh-born star suffered from primary progressive aphasia, which affects the ability to communicate. Jones directed Monty Python and the Holy Grail in 1975 with Terry Gilliam. group's Life of Brian film in 1979, about a hapless man mistaken for Jesus, was attacked as blasphemous at the time but has since been voted the funniest classic comedy in a poll compiled by the magazine Total Film. On screen, his much-loved characters included Arthur Two Sheds Jackson, Cardinal Biggles of the Spanish Inquisition, and Mr. Creosote, the monstrously obese restaurant patron. Jones also directed The Meaning of Life in 1983, the Pythons' last film together. His other credits include The Wind in the Willows in 1996, with performances from Eric Idle, Michael Palin, and John Cleese. 2015 comedy Absolutely Anything and Personal Services, 1987.
JCT there.
He took part in a reunion of remaining Monty Python members in 2014. Graham Chapman had died of cancer in 1989. He had 2 children with Alison Telfer, who he married in 1970, and became a father again, at the age of 67, with second wife Anna Soderstrom.
Yeah, I'd have to look him up. I don't even know a face to that name. I think I've only ever seen like the bare minimum amount of my Monty Python stuff, and he just didn't do enough to watch more. That's that's typical though with sketch comedy. Like Saturday Night Live, I never watched that show. I never have. Might have seen it a few times, but it's never done anything for me. But no, in Living Color, when that was around, I loved that show. But you know, I mean, and they had their share of not so great sketches too. Chappelle Show. Oh my God, there was some really good stuff there. But again, I mean, it's even Dave Chappelle wasn't immune to having a not so good sketch or two. And then I tried watching Key and Peele. I just couldn't get into that. It's just those two guys just do nothing at all for me. One of them I know acts in movies sometimes, and honestly, I'd rather see him in his acting roles than on Key and Peele. My brother was into Monty Python when we were kids, so I'm pretty familiar. Okay. So yeah, you're familiar with those sketch characters they were talking about and all that then, I assume. Morning, Mish. Carl would be familiar too, because I think that was part of it. I think I was just a young kid when Monty Python first came around, and of course I was more into other kind of stuff at that time. When I was young, I actually did watch a lot of popular shows like let's see, Emergency, Chips, Laverne and Shirley, Yeah, there's some good ones there, Mish. BJ and the Bear, yeah, I remember that one. I used to love watching that show. I don't remember much about it though, except for the semi truck with the truck driver and the monkey. I don't remember some of the, like, you know, anything about any of the episodes otherwise. Family Ties I used to watch all the time too, since you mentioned that. What else? Facts of Life. Facts of Life. My sister and mom used to be more into watching, but I didn't. I kind of liked watching it too because I know, what was it, Charlotte Rae. I know she was a recurring character. She had a recurring character in Different Strokes, and if I remember right, Facts of Life kind of spun off from Different Strokes, didn't it? Night Rider, yes, that was a really good one. Just watch that all the time. You know, Mythbusters actually did an episode once on how plausible it would be to get a car to go up into a moving semi and back out of one. And it actually worked perfectly. Yeah, they thought they were going to have a certain effect from the car when it would get up onto the ramp, but no, actually, just like you saw in the movie and the TV show, when Kit would always go up into the semi, they had the exact same experience. It was just seamless. Go right up onto the ramp and right up into the trailer. Yeah, Mrs. Garrett, that's it. That's Charlotte Rae's character on Facts of Life, and but that was the same character name in Different Strokes, right? Yeah, I was thinking that too with that, with going up on the ramp, or needing to have an automatic transmission, perhaps even, so it could, I imagine still it'd be better to just be in, neutral like you're saying, and then when the whenever drive tires aren't get up onto the ramp, then put it back in forward gear and roll right up it. And it had other characters on Different Strokes that had crossed over too, if I remember right. Tootie, I thought she was on there a couple times. And then, what's that? Natalie, I think her name is. Thought I remember seeing her on Different Strokes before too. Whatever happened with Janet Jackson? She was a recurring actor in Different Strokes. Surprised she didn't do more small screens than that. Or maybe she just got more heavily into her singing career after that. I don't know. Yeah, I think Joe was my favorite of them too. Look at her now, I'm like, what the hell? She's like a tomboy. What do I like so much about her back then? But yeah, back then I remember I think I do remember thinking she was the best looking one. Maybe watch WKRP in Cincinnati. I don't know, I had a harder time staying attached to that one so much, but there were times I would watch it when maybe if there was nothing better to watch or something, and I just I probably live for the most. That and chips. Cover here and see if I get any rain to go with it. I don't see anything looking like it's going to give me anything to worry about. I do see some clear sky up there in some areas. Patchy clear sky, whatever. So speaking of chips, did you guys ever watch that movie Chips? You know, with what are their names? Dak, what's that Dak, whatever his name is, the guy who's in Idiocracy, I forget his name now, Dak something, and then the Hispanic guy, you didn't like it, huh? Actually, I was expecting it to be a lot worse than it was. I was actually entertaining. I actually didn't mind watching it. Would I say it was great? No, but there was a lot of worthwhile, funny things in there. Maybe that was what it was that disrupted it for you. Is maybe having the expectation that it'd be more like Eric Estrada and whatever the other guy's name is, I forget. You know, more like a little bit more mature kind of officers or whatever, but they'd still have their little more adult, mature kind of fun in some ways. But a more serious approach with the characters. Yeah, Dax Shepard, that's his name. Now, I figured if people were not going to like that movie, it was probably because they put too much effort into to make it into a comedy. You know, with the character interaction, antics and stuff. CHP officers, you know, when they're not busy dealing with scofflaw citizens, whatever, you know, some of them really are like that, where they, you know, they'll pull practical jokes on each other, or you know, just try to push each other's limits or buttons or whatever sometimes. So, I mean, they're human like everybody else. But to your point, though, I do kind of agree where maybe they could have put some more, you know, maybe scenes where maybe they interact with civilians in some different capacities. You know, whether it just be some kind of speeder or something, or you know, just kind of like what would happen in the TV show. More of that, and less non-police work, kind of antic kind of stuff, I guess you would say. So yeah, I can definitely see your point on that part of it. Seemed like those two guys had pretty good chemistry, though. About my 12:30 to 1 o'clock position, just on this side of the foothills. Okay, yeah, it's maybe a little bit too juvenile-ish, I would say, for your taste. Or crude. Yeah, crude humor, kind of like a, like a Seth Rogen kind of humor. But I assume you're not much of a Seth Rogen fan then, if you're not into that kind of comedy, from what they had in that movie. So I actually like some of that, where it's like outrageous, like what the hell, where they just catch you in left field, like you're not expecting this or that. And for some reason, I actually kind of like that kind of stuff in some ways. Okay, for an example, that was one of those obviously definitely not for everybody, but some humor now pretty good. And I can do. Oh man, icy road. I put feet on brakes and sliding. Don't hit your brakes so hard. Gentle. Drive slow and don't make any sudden movements, whether it's speed up, slow down, or turn, whatever. You'll be good. Alright, at the plateau exit now. Yeah, that was pretty smart, dipshit. You think just slowing down and getting behind me would have been just as good? Not too bright, are you? Plenty of more news articles I have queued up. I just see if there's any in my notifications right now to get through. Is that a... No, it's not a JCT. Somebody else. Alright, stocks are trading higher. Dow futures up 75 points. Well, it's... Market's already open now, for the last half hour. Well, economists think that reversing climate change is hopeless. Sorry, I don't care.
Truck stop giant to add 3,000 truck parking spaces in 2020. By Ashley. January 17, 2020. Love's Travel Stops and Country Stores announced on Thursday that they plan major expansion this year, adding dozens of store locations and thousands of truck parking spaces. On January 16, Love's announced plans to open 40 new store locations nationwide in 2020. The company says that this will allow them add about 3,000 new truck parking spots to their network this year. Love's did not offer details about the new store locations. The addition of 40 new Love's truck stops will also mean 40 new Love's truck care centers and Speedco locations. We enter 2020 with lots of momentum that we'll continue through customer experience enhancements, product offerings, and the best value on the road, said Love's president Shane Warden.
Well, I know where one of those
new open stores from
is.
coast to coast continue to provide products and services that our customers depend upon and enhance our reputation as the company known for highway hospitality. Get the free CDL Life app today. Free truck GPS parking locator, driver community, and a whole lot more. Use app. Love's Travel Stops and Country Stores was founded in 1964 and currently operates approximately 500 locations in 41 states. Download the CDL Life app. Free truck navigation.
Okay, so reminds me. Okay, now this load I have now, I picked up a U.S. cold storage. It's actually a brand new distribution center that I picked it up at. It's new enough where if you look on the satellite, it looked like it's still being built. Actually, where I was really at is not even the right spot. It was right just south of where it looked like it was at. But they were still working on the southwest portion of the lot, doing, I don't know what they were doing there. It kind of looked like maybe they're building more parking there for like drop trailers and stuff. Nice facility though. And then literally right next door to it, actually right across the street, you have to go into a cul-de-sac to get into the U.S. cold storage on the trucking side. The same cul-de-sac you use to get into the U.S. cold storage, you also use to get into a brand new Love's that they're in the middle of building. I mean, it's not even open yet. They're building it still. I'd seen the Love's on the map, and I even asked the guy at Blue Beacon, when did that Love's up on Mines Road get there? I don't remember seeing it before. And I told him I used to go up that way to S&R forwarding all the time. Because it seemed like they had a lot of new stuff. Even on I-35, there were truck stops there that I don't remember seeing before. Like in the town of Cotulla. Around exit 39, or no, 67 or whatever it is. The only thing I remember being there before where trucks would park was that Mexican restaurant over on the east side of off the northbound side of the freeway. And now they got on the other side of the freeway, there's a Flying J and what was it, a Stripes or something over there, and I was like, I seriously don't remember those two being there before. I don't know, maybe they were, but I don't remember them. And I think there were some other truck stops along that corridor that I'm like, I swear I don't remember these places before. And I know for sure when I was coming down from Waco towards San Antonio, I saw a Love's down that way that I know for a fact was never there before. Because when I was with Sierra England, I remember the closest Love's that I could get to that was north of San Antonio. Basically at Natalia and Van Orme over on the south end of San Antonio. They got Love's stops there. And then after that, the only one I remember there being was the one way up there, what's that town called, where I-35 is about, just before 35 splits off into 35E and 35W. And then I remember, on the way down to Laredo, yesterday, I noticed there was a Love's over there on the west side, along the southbound side, I forget where it was at. Been a lot going on there with truck stops all on that corridor. And I bet you can thank Laredo for a lot of it. Even the stuff north of San Antonio, because a lot of freight out of Laredo goes up by 35 toward Dallas and then kind of branches out from that area. When they're going, if they're not just going directly east or west, maybe they're going up into the northwest or well, not necessarily northwest, but more so like the Midwest, like the Chicago area, whatever. It's more apt to see the freight going up toward the Dallas area and then working its way around from there. Oh, Hillsboro, I think that's the name of that town. Yeah, Hillsboro, I think that's the name of the town right before, right by where 35 splits off into 35E and W. Toilet humor movies. marker, 10 miles out from Van Horn, Texas. Tejas. My Qualcomm's deciding it wants to be stupid again. Please wait. I figured out I just tap the screen and then it comes back up. I got 3:05 left on my clock. Try and get as much distance out of this slowdown, out of this shift as I can. Yeah, that way I can set up for tonight and tomorrow morning shift, whatever. Hopefully be able to eventually get it into, at least close to our drop yard, if not, all the way to the drop yard. I don't think I'll be able to reach the drop yard, but I can at least get as far as I can. Make it less of a burden on anybody. They might need they might be able to get to repower the load for me to get it delivered on time. Well, yeah, Anthony is not the problem. Anthony's easy to make. Problem is I was hoping to get past Las Cruces, like maybe even all the way out to Deming, but I think the time we're driving a little bit slower speeds right there in Laredo, and then also trying to in some of those towns that are along US 83, US 277, US 377, and US 90 and all that, and kind of slowing me down to kill my chance of getting some miles. What's that? 4095. So what I'm saying is I'm planning to end my day in Las Cruces. I really wanted to get further than that, so I can have a better chance of making the San Bernardino yard on the following shift. But I don't think that I'm going to be. I'm not sure that Las Cruces is going to be far enough for me to reach San Bernardino. So from Las Cruces got about 140 or so, or what? I'm trying to remember what exit the Pilot and TA are off of. I normally stop at TA, but I'll probably go to Pilot this time so I can get a shower while I'm there. I see cops in here at the checkpoint, but the light is not flashing, so I don't have to worry about it. I see at least a couple of at least a few DOT vehicles over there doing inspections, though, it looks like. Yeah, that guy definitely looks like he's set up for doing this. Yeah, definitely. He's got his mechanic type coveralls on, he's got a creeper there and all that kind of stuff. Is a mile marker. Okay, so about 30, a little over 30 miles into New Mexico then. So that's about 170, almost 180 from here then. Yeah, I'm only going to have about 20 minutes left on my clock by the time I get over there. So I don't, it's unrealistic to think I'd get anywhere past Las Cruces. There's no way in hell I'm going to stop at that shithole Love's over there. to get to that. You know, some coveralls, you had to unzip the coveralls to get into your pockets, and then the thicker ones, but you know, it's make you hot as hell, and it's already hot enough there in the summertime. They had holes in the, you know, like slits, whatever, in the pockets where you can actually get to your regular clothes pockets underneath easily, but again, the coveralls themselves are thicker and make you really hot. Knee pads were always a good thing to have, even though we never used them. When working in the summertime during the daytime and on the wing of an aircraft, whatever, it's, oh man, that skin gets hot. Yeah, you don't want to be having your skin having direct contact with that shit for any longer than necessary. US 90 coming up, because this was one of my options. Would have been to just take 90 all the way across to right here and then get on 10 right here, but I elected to take what was it, 285 up, 385, whatever. I want to say 285, but you know, take that up to Fort Stockton. It looked like a quicker route. See, one JCT there, looked like an owner up when I'm trying to pull it.
Article 131 of 182. With truck fatalities on the rise, FMCSA to study the cause of deadly semi-crashes. The FMCSA admits that fatal crashes involving large February 14, 2020. The Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, FMCSA, has announced a major new study into the underlying causes behind fatal large truck crashes. In a request for information document to be published, the FDA says that they seek information on how the FMCSA laid out 3 specific goals for the LTC-CFS study. Evaluate crashes involving large trucks and identify emerging trends. Monitor crash trends and identify causes and contributing factors, and develop effective safety improvement policies and programs. After worrisome new statistics showed an uptick in fatal crashes involving large trucks in 2018 that corresponded with the first full year that the electronic logging device mandate was in effect for most truck drivers. In October, they promised that the ELD mandate would help create a safer work environment for drivers. While there was a 2.9%. During a similar study conducted by the FMCSA in 2001-2003, the FMCSA said that upon action, the big differences between
and then what proportion of let's just say people who are Indian, for example. Not that I'm saying anybody's better or worse than the other. It'd be interesting to find out if there are any trends in there or whatever. Because I hate to say it, but sometimes cultural tendencies can have a factor in the propensity for certain groups to possibly be in incidents. Also, what kind of experience level do these drivers have? Because we got more trucks on the road than ever before, and a larger percentage of inexperienced drivers. And I think those are probably the 2 most fundamental problems there. Indian drivers out here, Punjabi or Sikh Indian drivers, whatever, who are very good drivers, and they drive safely. But then there's a bunch of others. A lot of times it's the younger guys drive like complete morons. Tailgate people and just drive like idiots. And I'm kind of wondering, between, and not just culture and ethnicity or anything, but also with age and all that too within each group. So there could be little trends in there that they could be figuring, catching on to, whatever. Signal is spotty through here, okay. Yeah, I kind of expect it will be. Car went into a ditch a few miles outside of town. Must be with mom and kids. Bad road. You get too many of them who don't know how to handle, don't know how to slow down for the conditions, or if they do have an emergency situation, where they slide, they actually make the problem worse by reacting the wrong way. Does supply
Big differences between 4G and 5G. New York, CNN Business. The development of ride-sharing apps, such as Uber and Lyft, was made possible by 4G. With 5G, ride-sharing cars could one day navigate themselves, no human driver required. Self-driving cars are just one of the many potential applications of 5G, the next-generation wireless network that is steadily being rolled out across the United States and in other countries around the world. Companies are racing to have the fastest or largest 5G networks. And countries are competing to be the first to deploy fully functional, nationwide 5G, because of the many revolutionary innovations experts anticipate will be built on top of it. But wireless customers are going to have to wait a while to see any of the major benefits 5G could one day bring. That's because a lot goes into the network to enable new technologies, including smart cities, remote surgeries and automated factories. The three major differences between 4G and 5G are faster speeds, higher bandwidth and lower latency or lag time in communications between devices and servers. But those perks are going to require building out a lot of new infrastructure and billions of dollars in annual investments. Read more. Speed. Speed is one of the most highly anticipated elements of the next generation network. 5G is expected to be nearly 100 times faster than 4G. With speeds like that, you could download a 2-hour film in fewer than 10 seconds, a task that takes about 7 minutes on 4G. No more panicking while trying to download your in-flight entertainment on the tarmac before the plane takes off.
Nice.
Rapid speeds have obvious consumer applications, including movie streaming and app downloads, but they'll also be important in many other settings. Manufacturing experts talk about the possibility of putting video cameras throughout a factory, and very quickly gathering and analyzing massive amounts of footage to monitor product quality in real time. Those speeds are possible because most 5G networks are built on super high frequency airwaves, also known as high band spectrum. The higher frequencies can transmit time getting through walls, windows, lampposts and other hard surfaces. That's not very transmit time getting through walls, windows, lampposts and other hard surfaces. That's not very when I tried 5G. It will change your life, if you can find it. In order to compensate for those challenges, wireless carriers building high-band 5G networks are installing tons of small cell sites, about the size of pizza boxes, to light poles, walls or towers, often in relatively small proximity to one another. For that reason, most carriers are deploying 5G city by city. For the network to work, the city has to be full of those small cells. It's also probable that many buildings will get their own 5G cell sites to ensure the network functions inside. Capacity. We've all experienced that frustrating moment when you're in a relatively small area with a bunch of people, a concert, sports stadium or the airport during holiday travel season, and you see that spinning wheel of death while trying to open a web page or play an Instagram video. Too many devices trying to use the network in one place can cause congestion. The network infrastructure just can't cope with mass numbers of devices, leading to slower data speeds and longer lag time for downloads. 5G is expected to solve that issue, and then some. The next generation network is expected to have significantly more capacity than 4G. That will mean not only a better connection for everyone's phones, so you can more easily brag on social media about being at the big game. It will make it possible to connect many more devices to the network. Experts compare the 5G network to a new and improved freeway with more lanes for more cars to drive on. This element of the update could create increased bandwidth for the Internet of Things era, filled with connected toothbrushes, kitchen appliances, street lamps and more. Latency. A small but significant difference exists between speed and latency, which is the time it takes for devices to communicate with each other or with the server that's sending them information. Speed is the amount of time it takes for your phone to download the contents of a web page. Latency is the time between when you send a text to a friend's phone and when their phone registers that it has received a new message. Although latency is measured in milliseconds, all those milliseconds add up when sending and receiving huge packets of information for something as complex as video or self-driving car data. Latency is already low with 4G, but 5G will make it virtually zero. That will be good for such new innovations as remote real-time gaming, helping people in various parts of the world using wireless internet-connected devices play one game and all be on exactly the same page at the same time. It will be essential for other technologies, such as self-driving cars, which will need to send signals about their environment over the internet to a computer in the cloud, have the computer analyze the situation and return signals to the car telling it how to respond. To ensure the safety of self-driving vehicles and their passengers, that communication needs to be instantaneous.
Well, trainees call me, or one of my trainees, whatever. Hey, what's up? Ah, go to where? Oh, oh, okay. And it actually varies by state, but the general rule of thumb is 12, 34, and 34. But you got other states like where you're at right now, there in Utah, your dual's gonna actually be heavier, like 37 or 36, 37, somewhere on there before you're overweight. So that's a light one. That's only like you're only like 40,000 pounds. It sounds like so. You probably your load's not even 10,000 pounds then. Ah, oh, okay. And how'd the orientation go for you? Did they do like another road eval or back end eval on you or anything like that? Or ah, okay. So points are a bad thing, is what you're saying. Oh, okay. Oh, that's good. The, so on the truck, so now where you're at now, is it just you by yourself, or are they putting like a mentor on? Oh, okay, that's good. Oh, okay. I mean, but other people were getting points though for. What did they say what the other people got the points for? Or oh, see now. I gotta tell a friend of mine, actually Scotty. Yeah, a lot of the people who are watching, because I'm streaming right now, and a lot of the people who watch me also watch him, and that's one of his things is with right turns. He has the mentality you always use the inner lane on the right turns because the older school logic where you protect your blind side. I'm like, no, that's not the way they teach it. They don't teach that in our England CDL school. They don't teach it in the one that Schneider does, or Knight or anybody else. They all teach outer lane. What year? Oh, it might not be so bad. Was it got a Cummins or a Packard in it? What kind of engine does it have? A Cummins or a Packard? Uh, Damn. Yeah, I'd kind of wonder if there's something wrong with maybe like a differential pressure sensor or something else in that system. If it keeps having a regen all the time, but that's not, if you're not idling it all the time, it shouldn't. Yeah, you shouldn't have to regen it that often. Yeah. Let's see, Costco's in Washington. I'm trying to. I don't think I've ever been to a Costco DC in Washington. Where you said the first. You said you're going to Seattle though, so you're going to actual DC or the stores? Oh, okay. That explains it. Yep. All right. Yep. Trying to figure out your headset problem or something. Oh, okay. Yeah. No. I am just getting into Sierra Blanca, Texas. My load is going to Santa Paula, California. Yeah, but I'm looking for a mega company is because they have a lot of drivers to look at, and they don't always have time to try to figure that stuff out. So it may. Oh, yeah, I can help with that. But I thought you said that's your first load since you hired back on with them. Huh. Okay, so trying to think your distance to Seattle. Don't tell me yet. I'm sure you already know it, but because if you're in Brigham City, you're about 50 miles from the Idaho border. Then I think you got about 200. Or no, what's that? It's like two and from 308 down to what is that 180 something or 440. So you're probably like 700 miles away from Seattle. What's that? Well, what's the actual distance? Oh, okay, so it's pretty close. Across March, up there in almost a year now. Okay. Okay, so what speed are you governed at? 63. Ouch. Okay, so you'll need to plan on about a 50-mile-an-hour. So that's easy. If you're at 720, just round it up to 725, and then move the decimal 2 places to the left. You get 7.25, and then double that, and that gets you got 14 and a half hours. So that's how many hours you're gonna need on your 70-hour clock. 14 to 14 and a half hours off your 70-hour clock to get it there. And so you'll need to plan on burning that, yeah, and then watch your recaps, of course. And then 14 hours is more than 11, so you'll need another 10-hour break somewhere along the way. So it's 24 to 25 hours. So if you start rolling, let's just say within the next 10 minutes, then your ETA would probably be about 8 or 8:30 or something in the morning tomorrow. What time's it due? Oh yeah, if you're 720 miles out, yeah, you're not gonna make it. Uh, you can, but here's the problem. The 2 hours, if you had run the extra 2 hours, would it have made any difference? No, because I don't think you would have been able to get close to. Yeah. Well, you're also going to have terrain to deal with, and in a 63-mile-an-hour truck, you're okay. The most you were going to get out of 2 more hours is maybe 120 more miles. So that would have gotten you. You would have been a little over 600 miles away, and you'll end up burning the majority of your, actually at least 10 hours off your drive clock the next shift to cover that distance. But you're going to burn more than that because you have all those. Radio stations from further away normally, but the audio quality's not so good. Now they usually have like a scratchy sound to them or whatever, like kind of like side tone, whatever. Versus when you're listening to an FM station, you can't pick them up from as far away, but the audio quality's better. And that's the same thing that goes on with cellular signals because they're just using radio. Transmitting and receiving on radio frequency, certain radio frequencies. So that's basically what they're getting at. Is you get more range out of cell signals that are lower frequency, but the quality, connection quality, the clarity of whatever you get is not so good. So in order to get like a better 5G setup, I think they have to have more towers covering a smaller area. Wouldn't mind hearing from somebody with actually a background in cellular technology, you know, with the engineering and all that. Of course, I can always ask that question on Quora too. I didn't get an answer on it. About 40 miles away from the dreaded El Paso. I say dreaded El Paso because I hate driving through there. I don't mind the city itself, I just hate driving through there. It's not like driving through LA or anything, but the way trucks are not allowed in the left lane, and they always got lollygaggers in the middle lane, and God forbid us how to drive. Alright, my DM has called me back. I'm early, it's more than a day early. Yeah, I was gonna say like with something before like this.
I can think of for a stand why such a project. I can think of for a stand why such a project is even more bewildering. The movie is essentially 1.5 hours of celebrity voiceovers finding different ways to say. Actors appear and vanish from the action with no explanation. At one point, Dooley and company are welcomed aboard a boat by a bearded man who announces, "I'm Jeff," and is never seen or mentioned again. Somehow, the supporting cast of humans emerges. Antonio is a compelling pirate king, seriously playing villain. But that barely matters in a movie where 90% of the dialogue consists of bargain basement sitcom zingers delivered by ducks. He's more of a collection of ticks and grunts than a human being. His Welsh accent is absurd when it's audible. More often than not, Downey Jr. looks bored, unamused by the CGI antics swirling around him, and even less interested in whatever flimsy action he's supposed to be driving forward. He may be able to talk to the animals, but the good doctor should have talked to a competent screenwriter, or perhaps just to his agent, before getting embroiled in a mess like this one. We want to hear what you think about this article. Submit a letter to the editor or write to letters@theatlantic.com. David Sims is a staff writer at The Atlantic, where he covers culture. Connect 135 100 2 notification management. 4 music notifications. 8 smart replies. 9 Wi-Fi sharing with QR codes. 10 improved sharing. Android 10 has already arrived on some phones and tablets, including Samsung's Galaxy S, Note series, Google Pixel devices, OnePlus phones, and more. As with previous big Android updates, we'll continue to see a trickle to more models over the coming months. Many of Android 10's most important changes are under the hood, or aren't as apparent as a full-on interface redesign, so you'd be forgiven for not noticing every new feature on your device. you swipe up to go home, swipe up and hold to switch between apps, and swipe from the sides to go back. It takes some getting used to, and there are still rough edges. I've lost track of how many times I've activated the back gesture while trying to open an app's side menu. 0.00s SD 6.3K views. If you want to try out the new gestures, just search for Navigation or Gestures in the Settings app. Other navigation options should be available from the same screen, including the classic 3-button bar and whatever custom gestures your phone's OEM has implemented. Samsung has its own gestures, for instance. Notification management. Notifications have received a minor update with Android 10. They are now organized into 2 categories, alerting or silent. The former will vibrate, ring your phone and appear at the top of the notification stack, while the latter won't alert you, and instead will appear in a silent section at the bottom of your notifications. Pretty simple.
Interesting.
You can change what category notifications go into by holding down on them in the notification panel. As with previous Android releases, you can also mute alerts, or specific alerts, from an app entirely.
That could be nice.
Dark mode. While some device manufacturers have already implemented their own dark modes, like Samsung, Android 10 includes a system-wide dark mode that works with system and third-party applications alike. Switching your phone to the dark theme should also make all of your apps dark, or at least all the apps updated to recognize the setting. You can try this out by pressing the dark theme toggle in the quick settings panel. Emoji. iPhone owners aren't the only ones who get new emoji with OS updates. Android 10 includes updates to almost 800 icons. Just like the old blob-style Android emoji, icons of people and faces are now gender-neutral by default, and you still have the option of picking a male or female design in a variety of skin tones. Android emoji over the years. Credit Emojipedia. There are also a bunch of new emoji to match the Unicode 12 standard, including icons for wheelchairs, onions, waffles, butter, hearts, circles, squares, service dogs, and more. That sloth emoji is adorable. Some of the new animal emoji in Android 10, credit Emojipedia. As always, some device makers have their own designs for emoji, so the appearance of these might vary depending on what phone or tablet you have. All the same emoji should be present though. Privacy settings. Android 10 has a new Privacy menu in the Settings app. While most of the options here are not new, it does consolidate all privacy-related settings in a single place, which is convenient. Here you can change what data gets sent to Google, what permissions all your apps have, what alerts appear on your lock screen, and more. Block background location access. One of my favorite changes in Android 10 is the ability to block applications from accessing your location when they are not running. For example, if there's an app you don't particularly trust but have to use for one reason or another, Facebook Go, you can prevent some of its ability to track you. This can be done from the previously mentioned privacy settings. Android 10 just notified me that Instagram has been tracking my location in the background. And Facebook has so many sensors to keep tabs on everyone. So we will pick twitter.com/goisoictive. Marlon Ying, at Mobilemars, September 26, 2019. Every breath you take, every move you make, I'll be watching you. pic.twitter.com/bzmk1qh7po. Conrad Eiter, at Conrad_it, September 4, 2019. Even better, Android 10 will snitch on apps that access your location in the background, and give you the option of blocking future background access. Seek bar for music notifications. Here's an Android 10 feature that might take a while for most people to notice. You can now skim through media straight from the app's playback notification. Super cool. Smart replies. A few apps already include reply suggestions in message alerts, but now Android 10 adds them to any app. The feature uses on-device machine learning to generate automated replies, so the contents of your messages aren't being sent to any servers for processing. The only catch is that smart replies won't appear for every single app, since Google allows apps to disable this functionality, or provide their own suggestions. Lame. Wi-Fi sharing with QR codes. If you have an extremely long Wi-Fi password, Android 10 lets you share networks using QR codes. Just head over to your Wi-Fi settings, select the desired network, and press share. Sharing and scanning Wi-Fi QR codes from the Settings app. Your phone will then give you a QR code, which someone else can scan using their camera app. The scanner is also accessible from the Wi-Fi settings. Of course, the other person will likely need Android 10 installed as well, unless their device maker added this functionality to earlier versions of Android. Scanning a Wi-Fi QR code from the camera app. Improved sharing. You know the share menu in Android that always takes a few seconds to fully load. With Android 10, all the share options are initialized before you ever open the menu, meaning it's much faster. In some cases, you also get a preview of what exactly you're sharing, a link, picture, etc. At the top of the menu. The top section with specific contact recommendations can still take a little while to load, but it no longer causes the entire share sheet to shift down, like it did on Android 9 Pie, at least with stock Android Pixel devices. Article 136 of 182. For starters, Philadelphia Eagles must finally say goodbye to in free agency, page 3. East Rutherford, NJ, November 6, Jason Peters, number 71 of the Philadelphia Eagles defends against Jason Pierre-Paul, number 90 of the New York Giants during their game at MetLife Stadium on November 6, 2016, in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Photo by Al Bello, Getty Images. 71. Jason Peters. It seems inevitable that the bodyguard will be released. It's beginning to look like Jason Peters has played his final game in an Eagles jersey. More from inside the Eagles. Former Philadelphia Eagles star officially returns an executive role. Philadelphia Eagles part ways with another coaching assistant, 3 reactions. 2 cool comments Miles Sanders made on Carson Wentz. Doug Peterson. Philadelphia Eagles rookie report cards, who's hot, who's not so hot.
Another one just went by.
Philadelphia Eagles, James Urban could be great for Carson Wentz.
I've seen 31.
With all due respect to Jason Peters for his 15-season career in the NFL, one that has undoubtedly earned him a future place in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, it's time for Philadelphia to say goodbye to this familiar face after a decade plus of service with the Eagles. Peters will turn 38 on January 22nd, and Father Time hasn't been completely kind to him recently. The veteran left tackle has fallen under 90% participation of offensive snaps in each of the past 3 seasons, and he ended this season with 10 costly penalties that have hurt his offensive teammates. Another huge factor that should push the Eagles to let Peters go is last year's decision to draft defensive tackle Andre Dillard in the first round of the most recent selection meeting. That was made possible by their decision to trade up and snag him. It was understandable to keep Peters around while Dillard learned the ropes, but now it's time to pass the baton and move on. Next, just not the same anymore. Article 137 of 182. Former NCIS New Orleans star Zoe McClellan said Mark Harmon warned her about one important thing before she took the role. It's been a few years since actress Zoe McClellan left NCIS New Orleans. Her character, Special Agent Meredith Brody, left after letting down her team. In real life, McClellan's exit took a different turn. However, before she ever accepted the job offer, Mark Harmon, the executive producer of the NCIS spin-off, warned her about something that might affect McClellan later. Zoe McClellan's casting experience happened faster than most. Actor, producer Mark Harmon and actress Zoe McClellan speak on stage at the NCIS New Orleans panel during the CBS network portion of the 2014 Summer Television Critics Association. Frederick M. Brown, Getty Images. Many actors know the auditioning process in Hollywood can be draining. Even with multiple callbacks, or a pilot, there's no guarantee of success. Zoe McClellan had a different audition scenario for NCIS New Orleans. I was actually having breakfast with my mom in LA, and I got an email from my agent saying they wanted to see me that day, just a few hours later, to audition for the role, she told the New Orleans Advocate. So they sent over some sides, or script pages. I just felt, I need to play her. This is my part. McClellan auditioned for co-executive producer, Gary Glassberg, and director of one of the 2 pilot episodes, James Whitmore Jr. The NOLA star said her nerves weren't as strong as they felt in other auditions, adding, they made her comfortable with the role in the script. I'm actually glad I was completely winging it. Usually, you have a little time. You have a whole script, and you have time to think about the character. There wasn't any of that, she said. Maybe that's one of the reasons why I did feel so great there. There was no time to overthink it. McClellan has a common connection to Harmon in New Orleans. View this post on Instagram. Live there. Have a ton of cousins there. It was really great. The transition was made so easily because I had cousins helping me out and showing me around and telling me where to go get this and that and looking at houses. So I feel like I'm home. She added that the opportunity to play Special Agent Brody came at the exact right time. You know, we talked about the meant to be thing. Maybe that's part of it, she said. What did Harmon warn McClellan about before she accepted the role? View this post on Instagram. Serious business at Ensisnola # Coast Guards. A post shared by Zoe McClellan at Zoe_McClellan_official on April 11, 2016 at 6:56 a.m. Pacific Daylight Saving Time. The entire NCIS franchise is saturated in work ethic, led by Harmon's example on an offset. There's only one thing McClellan had to know about the job, and Harmon made sure she understood. Mark did warn us, you may have some long hours. We have some high standards to live up to, she said, alluding to the massive success of NCIS before the NOLA pilot came along. McClellan felt ready for the challenge. My parents taught me to do your homework and show up to do your job. Yes, it's play and we're acting and all that, but this is a job, she said. And yes, we will have some long hours. That doesn't intimidate me. Considering McClellan stuck around the NCIS, New Orleans set from 2014-206 before landing the part of Kendra Danes on Designated Survivor. Since its cancellation, she starred in 2 other projects with no more currently lined up. That said, Special Agent Brody wasn't killed off like Special Agent Christopher LaSalle, Lucas Black. While some reports suggest McClellan was fired from the show, there's always a chance she'll pop back in on her former supervisor, Dwayne Pride, Scott Bakula, and his NCIS team. At least, fans can hope. NCIS, New Orleans returns to CBS on Sunday, February 16. Article 138 of 182. Stock market is eerily reminiscent of January 2018, when stocks suffered rapid correction, technical analyst says, MarketWatch.
I agree.
Stock market investors could be setting themselves up for a nasty fall. That's according to Mark Newton, a popular independent market technician, in a Friday note to clients. U.S. stocks have moved up at a clip that's eerily reminiscent of January 2018, he wrote. No news really matters to shake markets, and bad economic news or earnings, not to mention geopolitical threats, matter for a few hours only before the relentless rally continues unabated, he wrote. The S&P 500 index SPX plus 0.39% fell more than 10% between January 26 of 2018 and February 9 of that year, after rallying more than 27% between the start of 2017 and the January 2018 top. Make no mistake, this market move is not normal, and is not something which should be able to continue technically into and through February without a major hiccup, he added. He pointed to spreads between high-yield corporate bonds and investment-grade corporate bonds as one signal that could be predicting a near-term downturn. High yield has started to trail off a little, he said in an interview with MarketWatch, referencing the ratio between the market iBoxx Liquid Investment Grade Index LQD, minus 0.02% and ICE BOFAML 0 to 5-year U.S. High Yield Constrained Index HYS, minus 0.05%, which has remained range-bound in January, despite the stock market's headlong advance. The S&P 500 index has risen 2.9% month-to-date, while the Dow Jones Industrial Average DJIA, plus 0.17% has added 2.8% and the Nasdaq Composite Index Comp, plus 0.34% has advanced 4.4%. Newton said he is also concerned with measures of market sentiment, including the American Association of Individual Investors Sentiment Survey, Bank of America's monthly survey of institutional investors, and the monthly CBOE put-to-call ratio, or the number of options to sell stocks relative to the number of options to buy stock, which remains at the lowest level we've since at least the early 200s, with more than 2 calls being bought for every put, Newton said, adding that this speaks to the euphoria of the current market.
That's way too high.
Markets truly seem to be near exhaustion using traditional methods, but it's proper to wait on the sidelines until the break gets underway, which should prove swift and severe, according to Newton. To be sure, other measures like the number of stocks advancing versus those declining over time are at historic highs, a typically bullish signal, along with the fact that markets are making higher highs and higher lows, setting new record closes along the way. Investors should keep stops tight and not grow too complacent, he added, referring to stop-loss orders investors use to automatically sell stocks once they fall to a preset price. Technical analyst Jeff Degroff of Renaissance Macro Advisors agreed that investors should approach current levels with caution. 52-week highs, the percentage of issues above their 200-day moving average, and sector high all are suggesting bullish long-term momentum, but the crescendo nature of this strength without meaningful single-day breadth figures and elevated complacency leaves us tactically cold, he wrote in a Friday note. That said, it's incredibly difficult to predict exactly when euphoric sentiment will take a turn for the worst. Indicators don't flash red when the market is at a top, Newton warned. It's hard to go out there and really trumpet a big bearish call, which makes you wonder if it's probably the right thing to be doing. We want to hear from you. Join the conversation. Comment. Related topics. U.S. stocks. Markets. Investing. Article 139 of 182. U.S. troops were injured in Iran missile attack despite Pentagon initially saying there were no casualties. CNN, several U.S. service members were injured during last week's Iranian missile attack on Al-Assad Air Base in Iraq despite the Pentagon initially saying that no casualties were suffered. While no U.S. service members were killed in the Jan. 8 Iranian attack on Al-Assad Air Base, several were treated for concussion symptoms from the blast and are still being assessed, the U.S.-led military coalition fighting ISIS in Iraq and Syria said in a statement Thursday. Out of an abundance of caution, service members were transported from Al-Assad Air Base, Iraq to Landstuhl Regional Medical Center in Germany for follow-on.
We don't have MOSs in the Air Force, but I want to say it's military occupational specialty or something like that. I would have to look it up too to be able to give you a correct answer, but or to know that I'm giving you a good answer. So, and I'm guessing it's military occupational specialty, but like I say, I'm driving. I'm even in a worse position to look it up than you are. Okay. Okay. All right. All right. Love you. We don't use MOS in the Air Force. We use AFSC. So I've only ever heard MOS get used by the other branches. That's what I know what it is. What it exactly stands for, I don't know. I think that's it though. Military occupational specialty. over here to get the hell away from you. Then your dumbass speeds up. This is exactly why I freaking hate going to El Paso. I always have someone like this. Every damn time I come. You gotta be kidding. Now it's slowing down and I can't get over it because now I got someone blocking me. No, that's not me. And plus, when you say hi, Scotty, I think you're talking about Scotty D. You saying something, but I got too much traffic. I can't look at that. So I'll take a look later. 12 miles away from New Mexico. Can't get out of the El Paso area fast enough. Texas Kids Dental. Now open. I'm moving fine, but it's annoying still. What was that, 3660 or something like that, or 3860, I couldn't tell. Now, we all have certain cities where we just, it just irritates the hell out of us to drive in. And honestly, El Paso is one of the cities that I absolutely can't stand driving in. It actually gets me in a foul mood a lot of times. Moving or not, it's still very nerve-wracking. You always have some idiot can't make up their mind with speed run, or they won't run the speed limit, and they're in your way, and then add in this stupid no trucks allowed in the left lane, and so you can't even try to get around them in any way. It's horrible. The only time I like going through here at all is in the middle of the night when there's a lot less traffic out. Otherwise, I'd just as soon say to hell with this place. Maybe start taking Trans Mountain Road around. Basically loop 375, take it around, but you gotta go up and down steep 8% grades to, while you're on that road, and it's a longer route too. But a little bit less headache going that way though, at least.
DOT sitting past the 8.
better to see that it's green, but it's not the normal tone that I get when it's green. It's done that a couple times to me recently. 15 miles to go.
Concussions are not always apparent immediately after they've been suffered, but the disclosure indicates that the impact of the attack was more serious than initial assessments indicated. The attack, launched in retaliation for the U.S. airstrikes that had killed Iranian Gen. Qasem Soleimani, significantly ratcheted up tensions between Iran and the U.S., though the prospect of further military confrontation appears to have abated for now. State Department security officials weren't notified of imminent threats to U.S. embassies. A U.S. military official told CNN that 11 service members had been injured in the attack, which was first reported by Defense One. Following the attack, the Pentagon had initially said that no casualties had resulted from the 16 missiles fired by Iran. The U.S. military defines a casualty as either an injury or fatality involving personnel. Read more. Asked about the apparent discrepancy, a defense official told CNN that was the commander's assessment at the time. Symptoms emerged days after the fact, and they were treated out of an abundance of caution. After this story published, Capt. Bill Urban, the spokesperson for U.S. Central Command, which oversees troops in the Middle East, said the military had learned after the attack that 11 individuals were injured, 8 were transported to Landstuhl Regional Medical Center in Germany and 3 were sent to Camp Arifin in Kuwait for follow-on screening. As a standard procedure, all personnel in the vicinity of a blast are screened for traumatic brain injury, and if deemed appropriate are transported to a higher level of care, Urban said in a statement. All soldiers in the immediate blast area were screened and assessed per standard procedure, according to the Defense Department. When deemed fit for duty, the service members are expected to return to Iraq following screening. A U.S. military spokesman in Baghdad explained to CNN's Arwa Damon that the service members were metabased to Kuwait and Germany because those facilities had the necessary equipment to diagnose the brain injuries. Barr and Pompeo shift justification for Iran's strike from imminent threat to deterrence. Official U.S. reports about the attack have shifted since it occurred. Last week, Secretary of Defense Mark Esper had said the initial assessment found only damage to property. The current battle damage assessment is, if you will, again, we can get you details, things like tentage, taxiways, the parking lot, a damaged helicopter, things like that, nothing that I would describe as major, at least as I know it at this point in time. So that's the state of the attack at this point as we know it. Most importantly, no casualties, no friendly casualties, whether they are U.S., coalition, contractor, etc., Esper said. Pentagon leadership notified Thursday. A spokesperson for the Department of Defense told reporters Friday that Esper and the rest of the Pentagon leadership had only been made aware of the nature and severity of the injuries on Thursday, with Esper being told by the Vice Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff Gen. John Hyden, who interrupted a meeting Esper was in to relay the information. The Secretary was made aware of this yesterday afternoon. I was actually in a meeting with him upstairs and the Vice Chairman interrupted the meeting to give the Secretary an update yesterday late afternoon, immediately directed us to get the information, get more details, get the information out, which we did. We did that last night, Pentagon spokesman Jonathan Hoffman said Friday. The Defense Department and the coalition fighting ISIS did not respond to questions about the injuries for several hours on Thursday. Hoffman said that part of the reason the casualties were not immediately reported was the fact that many of those service members initially returned to duty in the wake of the attacks. Our understanding is these individuals were able to return to duty following the attacks, and either they had concussion symptoms that appeared shortly after the attack and did not diminish and therefore they've been sent on for further evaluation, or they had concussion symptoms that appeared later, only manifested later, and therefore have caused medical personnel to move them onward for examination, he added. Esper was not immediately informed of the injuries because regulations dictate that only a certain set of injuries are reported to the Secretary, according to another Pentagon spokesperson. Immediate reporting requirements up to the Pentagon are for incidents threatening of life, limb or eyesight, so actually, traumatic brain injury wouldn't rise to that threshold, Pentagon spokesperson Alyssa Ferris said Friday. Differing accounts. U.S. officials also have offered differing accounts of what they see as the motivations behind Iran's attack. Vice President Mike Pence said last week that the administration believes the strikes were intended to kill Americans, and Army Gen. Mark Milley, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, said he believed that the attacks were intended to cause structural damage, destroy vehicles and equipment and aircraft, and to kill personnel. But a growing belief emerged among administration officials last week that Iran had deliberately missed areas populated by Americans. Multiple administration officials told CNN that Iran could have directed its missiles to areas populated by Americans, but intentionally did not. And those officials saw it Iran may have chosen to send a message rather than take action significant enough to provoke a substantial U.S. military response, a possible signal the Trump administration was looking for a rationale to calm the tensions. Iraq did receive a warning that the strike was coming and was able to take necessary precautions, according to a statement from Iraq's Prime Minister Adel Abdul Mahdi. A U.S. defense official said that Iraq, in turn, warned the United States. However, Pentagon officials have said they received no such warnings from the Iraqis, but that the U.S. was able to detect the attack in enough time to alert U.S. forces on the ground. Iran's UN ambassador said last Friday that the Iraqi bases housing U.S. troops had been primarily selected to demonstrate target accuracy, not to kill Americans, disputing public claims made by top Trump administration officials. We said before we took our military action that we would choose the timing and the place, and we chose the place where the attack against Soleimani was initiated, Ambassador Majid Takhtravanchi told CNN's John Berman on New Day last Friday when asked about Pence's comments. And we do not consider a high number of casualties as an instrumental element in our calculations. Earlier this week, the Trump administration abruptly canceled 4 classified congressional briefings related to the ongoing Iran crisis, in some cases providing little or no explanation for doing so. Update: this story has been updated with additional information on the attack in a statement from U.S. Central Command. CNN's Caroline Kelly, Kylie Atwood, Pamela Brown, Caitlin Collins, Jim Sciutto, Ryan Brown, Barbara Starr and Paul LeBlanc contributed to this report. News for you. Sen. Chuck Schumer, when the Chief Justice walked in, I saw senators gulp. Parna's attorney posted this video after Trump said he didn't know him. Ariana Grande. 170 people sickened at Yosemite National Park after likely norovirus outbreak. Surveillance video catches rare sight of 5 mountain lions in California. Anderson Cooper roasts Martha McSally for liberal hack jab at Manu Raju.
About 5 miles to go.
Paid content. The 8 best Yahoo search. About Yahoo search. It's easy to Yahoo search. Top 6 cards NerdWallet. Paid content. Finance PhD explains stock market in 2 words. Stansberry Research. Who has the best high-yield savings accounts? Research High, Yahoo. Search. Indianapolis, do you approve of Mitch McConnell? Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee. Indiana, Government will pay $271 per month off your mortgage if you have mortgagebenefits.co. More from CNN. Martha McSally's staggering cynicism. These 8 words spell big trouble for Bernie Sanders. Here's what Tom Steyer said about the awkward moment. Trump adds Ken Starr and Alan Dershowitz to impeachment defense. Recommended by Article 140 of 182. U.S. housing starts soar 16.9% in December to a 13-year high. Published Friday, January 17, 20,208 31 a.m. Est. Updated Friday, January 17, 20,201 27 p.m. Est. Economy. Key points. U.S. home building surged to a 13-year high in December as activity increased across the board. The data suggested the housing market recovery was back on track amid low mortgage rates and could help support the longest economic expansion.
here. I'm parked over there by the repair shop. Probably gonna get some work done. Let's see if there are any pull-throughs over here. One right over here, fifth spot over, it looks like. Plenty of room, go into about a spot and a half over from where I want. Trying to limit the off track from my trailer to make sure that tandems have a chance to get in the hole perfectly. Yeah, this is perfect. This is the end of my day here at TA in Las Cruces, New Mexico. Let's see what did I do for miles today. 663. So from Laredo to here, 663 miles when I ran. I will be swapping loads here. There's a fifth message that came in. What is it? Oh, fuel rebates. So what? I don't care about that. New Mexico, automatic message, whatever. Alright, then come on. Okay, I'll be swapping with L4142. Like their names are Elton and Shamika. It's a team truck. Their load's not due in Riverside until the 25th, so I'm sure they're more than happy to get off that load. Now, even I will be be over there more than a day early. Because I'll be able to knock out most of those miles to Riverside from here tonight and tomorrow morning, and then do a 10-hour break, and then end up in Riverside sometime tomorrow afternoon, I think, or early evening. Because if I had the ability to get from here all the way to Santa Paula, which is over on the, it's off of Highway 126, and where if you go just north of where Magic Mountain is, in Valencia, Santa Clarita area in California on I-5, just north of there is Highway 126. You go west on 126, and just past the town of Fillmore is the town of Santa Paula, and that's where this load is going to. Their load is going to Riverside. Tell whose truck that is over there. Anyway, alright, so anyway, that's what I'll be doing. Let's see, it's 139 from here to Arizona, and then from Arizona it's 390 across, so 490, 530. I'll easily get into California on my next shift. And it's about how far is it? It's less than 200. I think it's over 150, but I'll say maybe 160 or so. I want to say, yeah, about 160-ish of California. So 530, about 690. So there's actually a slight chance I can actually get this load to Riverside or San Bernardino drop yard on my next shift. Although I wouldn't bet on it, but it's a possibility. So anyway, yeah. What time is it? Almost 11 o'clock. So be about 9 o'clock tonight when I can go back on duty, or actually if I do an 8-2 split, I can actually go back on duty around 7 o'clock tonight. So, but if that load's not due until the 5th, the 25th. It's not due until the 25th at 2 a.m. in Riverside. I'm not in a hurry. I don't have a need to do. To stay on the 8-2 split like I originally planned on doing, since won't be taking this load all the way. So, all right, yeah, good day with over 600 miles. Yeah, anything over 600 is a good day, a decent day for me, and then over 700 is a good day. Yeah, 700 we got to run pretty much the whole shift, or most of the shift. Let's see what else we got. Detention pay approved for $75, and of course a message about, notification about the swap. Team is rolling through Sheffield, Texas currently. I don't know where Sheffield is. I want to say it's off I-20, but I could be wrong. I'll have to look at the map, see where it's at. But yeah, I'm gonna go and wrap this up though. Probably won't stream tonight because it'll be dark. Depending on, I don't know, might have the second half of the shift, I might stream it or something, depending on, I think some of it'll be dark and some of it'll be light daytime, so I'll probably plan on something on that happening. And of course, tomorrow will definitely be stopping somewhere in California. I just don't know where, so that's what I have going on though. So, alright, so maybe early in the morning tomorrow, I'll probably stream from maybe Eloy or somewhere over there in between Tucson and Phoenix is where I'm thinking I'll probably shut down for my 30. So, do that from there to wherever in California I end up wanting to get to. So, we'll see when I do my 30 where I'll get an idea where I'll end up stopping. So, alright guys, thanks for hanging out. I know a good chunk of this was not good viewing because the dead zone area that I was in, so can't do much with it. But you know, always appreciate those of you guys who did hang in there and stuck through it to the end. So, all right, have a good day, guys. We'll see you all tomorrow. Okay.